side of the track to see what was going on. And it was Terry Ives. It looked like he was doing about 120 miles an hour going into turn one at Prairie City, and just throws it in there, like literally just throws it sideways, goes to the corner. And I'm looking at this thing. It's like, that thing is going way too fast down the straightaway for what I was pretty sure had no brakes.
Well, Terry doesn't like to use brakes all that much to begin with.
Yeah.
He thinks they're overrated.
They're overrated?
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing,
but,
it just, again, it looked like it just hauled ass down the straightaway. It was definitely scooting. It was definitely scooting. It was definitely faster than any of the Briggs if you were to do a comparison, for sure. And again,
course.
This had to be maybe 15 years ago, so it was a while ago. So the Briggs weren't even really around back then. Actually, they weren't, unless it was the modified Briggs stuff.
Briggs have always been around.
Yeah.
You mean the 206?
Yeah, back then, I think they were all modified. What was it, the flatheads? Is that what they called them?
Yeah, the old flatheads. Well, Terry, he put me in one of his carts. It had twin McCullough 101s that were screaming loud. And I was up at Reading, and, he tells me, before he fires up the first motor, he goes, "Hey, I just want you to know, like, after 2 or 3 laps, the brakes start to fade." It's like, oh, that's great. But he's right. You really don't need him that much up there. But I swear to God, going down that straight, I think I was doing close to 100 miles an hour with both of those motors screaming loud.
Yeah, wow.
It was a lot of fun. And, it doesn't really matter what kind of cart you're in. If you still have throttle to go, you're still giving it throttle, It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Some of these carts have, 3 motors on them. There's one guy, Will Rogers, he and Terry built a motor out of an old Mercury 10-horse boat motor.
Okay.
So they have a go-kart motor that's probably what you heard, something like that. It's just, you need ear muffs or earphones on, because it is just way loud.
Oh, everyone needed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were very loud. So you're the current president for the Vintage Kart Club of America. So for those that missed it, the website is vintagekartclubofamerica.com, and you have an event coming up on March 20th through the 22nd.
We do.
And that's going to be at
the
Kinsman
Rides
Kart
of
Club
March.
in Dixon.
Correct. Yeah, we're
so
having
tell
our
us
first
about
event
that.
of the year. Sure. It's going to be out at Kinsman Kart Club out in Dixon. It's the Rides of March, our first event of the year. It should be a lot of fun. We're also going to have a little mini bike show going on.
Okay.
A lot of the members of our club have some mini bikes, and we invited a couple other friends, so we're going to see how many mini bikes show up. And we also have a live band coming out. They're going to be playing some music in the afternoon. We're going to have a raffle. We're going to be giving away some prizes, and we'll have some promotional ladies out there giving away some awards, taking some pictures with some old vintage mini bikes and vintage go-karts. It should be a lot of fun.
Now, are the promotional models, are they also vintage?
Oh, no, they're not vintage.
They're not vintage, okay.
No.
And then what are we doing for the raffles?
Good question. So raffle,
this
we
is
always
Vintage
have a
Kart
50...
Club talk.
Yes, no, that's a good question, because most of the guys are vintage guys out there with their vintage carts.
Yeah.
A bunch of great guys, like when you're talking about Terry Ives. If you ever want to hear some great go-kart racing stories, just sit around when he's telling some stories, and it's very entertaining.
Okay.
He's got some great stories. And the motto of our club is preserving karting history. And that's what we're trying to do with, obviously some of the wide range of karts we have out there. And some of the people are just great wealth of knowledge and great storytellers and, great all around people, as well as you'd probably probably acknowledge that most of the people in karting are just great people. If you're ever stuck at the kart track and need a hand with anything, you'll have plenty of people helping you out every time.
No, the karting it's a great group of people. Now, so you mentioned raffles. What type of raffle prizes are you going to have out there?
Well, so we always have a 50-50 raffle. It helps the club out, and it helps someone else out there with a little cash.
So the 50-50 goes back to the club?
Yeah, half it does. And we're getting a new supply of T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, stickers. We'll be raffling off some of that stuff. And then we usually have some people that donate a couple things. We don't like to raffle for too long. We like to kind of get done with that and get back to driving out on the track, really.
Okay. Isn't that what it's all about? Hanging out, having a good time, driving karts?
If you're talking vintage cars, you're wrenching on them most of the time. But yeah, getting them fixed, getting back out on the track.
Oh, so is this a show
Definitely.
and shine?
No, this isn't a show. Besides the mini bike show, this isn't a kart show at this event. Usually we have kart shows at our major events, which we're going to be having a major event coming up in April 24th, 25th in Bakersfield. And then after that, we're having an event at Prairie City in May. So if you go to our website, www.vintagekartclubofamerica.com, or go to our Facebook page, you could check out all our events, check out some members. There's always some vintage karts for sale on our site, and we'd love to have more members. And someday soon, your kart will be a vintage kart.
I'm only laughing because you're probably well aware of the Track Magic group, and they're a very cool group of dudes getting together around the Track Magic brand. And I keep looking at it. I keep calling ourselves vintage.
Well, I don't know if any Track Magic karts are vintage yet, but there's some that are pushing the line, I bet.
Yeah, they're not vintage by your standards that you laid out earlier.
Right.
But yeah,
but they've been around for a while.
Looking at the Track Magics from back then and the names and the people, then to today, it's easy. It's 25 years ago.
And how's the new program going?
Good. I mean, they've already racked up national wins under the guidance of Gary Carlton. And I think the biggest thing that I see with the Track Magic stuff is just their community that they're building. I keep using them as kind of the poster child of what we need more of in karting. Because everyone out there, every time I've gone to one of these events, they're all having a good time. There's usually food involved. There's karts involved. A lot of shit talking involved. A lot of karts driving on the track. And then they just have they have a really good group on Facebook that they support their drivers. They build them up. They post pictures about the most random, oddest things that a lot of us might go, why are you wasting your time on that? And then it's like, for them, that's their outlet from the real world. And
sure,
it's cool to see. And yeah, I mean, it's been a breath of fresh air. Definitely for the local karting scene. And I don't know if you guys kind of mimic the same thing with the vintage kart stuff, but I keep throwing out there, talking, to like guys like, Phil Hand and Joey Hand and Vince Palacios. Like, they need to start the Emick owners group, and, Cole Nelson needs to start the Invader owners group, and get all these guys kind of fired up and going to build that local community. And just really try to replicate what Track Magic is doing. And I don't know, do you feel your group has that same vibe?
Well, I don't know that you're going to get anyone to jump back into building frames and, building a race program. Most of our members are retired, and, they just want to come out and pull the old kart out, shine it up, and rip it around. But, we have a lot of our club members that are old racers that have been around the scene forever and have won lots of major championships. And you know, they have all their old stuff and they've got all their trophies and they still have their race suit and everything, and they probably would love to join a group, but I don't know if they would start one, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, and that's not for everybody, right? I mean, some of us were hardcore racers and it's like, oh, we're just racing. And I think for some of us, as we get older, it's like we want to kind of not live back in the past, but just reflect on it.
Oh, sure.
As I'm looking at the Kinsman Kart Club page, there's a picture of Jason Pettit, Sonny Cervelli, and Harrison Mills. Like, I don't know, they're 7 or 8, and now they're full-fledged adults. Maybe we'll question if Harrison's adult, but I see that's the first photo I posted up as I was posting a link to their site, and yeah, it's just kind of, again, acknowledging the past and again, not living in it, but just remembering it. It's like, man, those were some different times.
Oh, sure. Yeah, a lot of these guys were around, like Terry Ives, and some of our members have been around from the beginning of karting. You know, we have our Duffy Livingstone Memorial coming back up in Medford, Oregon this year, and you know, he was the guy that gave go-karts their name. He was a member of our club. You know, he passed away a few years ago, but he was a great guy.
Now, how far is the reach of your club? Is it NorCal based? Is it California, or is it national?
You know, it's pretty much based right around Northern California here, this area.
Okay.
But we go up to Tacoma, Washington. We've got an event in Tucson, and then we go to other events. There's another club called the Vintage Karting Association. It's like our brother or sister club. They put on a lot of events too, so we have some crossover with them. And they have events back east. I would love to do some events outside of our comfort zone and add some tracks and some states and some members. So I'm, as the new president, looking for other things to do with the club. Not other things to do besides karting, but other events, other areas. Be more of the Kart Club of America instead of just the California area.
Got it. So just you are looking to expand it and bring in more members and grow what you guys are doing.
I would say not too fast, but yeah, I would like to. You know, I've been talking to Northern Nevada Kart Club about maybe having an event there, or just maybe showing up on just the day and just doing like a flash mob thing with 10 vintage kart drivers or so, you know, and just get to a new track and rip around a little bit and have a good time in a different area.
Okay. Now, for those that might just be tuning in or missed the first part, for your classifications for your group, what do you consider vintage?
I consider vintage, well, I shouldn't go by what I consider vintage. I'll go by what the club says. A kart with an 1.25 inch axle or smaller. So we tried not to go with a year. And if anyone just is tuning in, I'm Jeff Lanzaro, the new president of the Vintage Kart Club of America. And we're talking about vintage karting and what constitutes a vintage kart. So that would be the answer, would be 1.25 inch axle or smaller.
So I could put an 1.25 inch axle on my TB kart and that would be fine?
And, you know, that discussion came up and we decided, you know, if you really wanted to do that, yeah, we'd love to see it. Rip it apart and weld it up and bring it on out. I mean, you know, if somebody wanted to do that, sure, you could come run at our event. But for the most part, nobody's going to do that. They're just going to comply with the rule and pull out an old Emic and, you know, an old Invader, dust it off and clean it up and put it back together and bring it on out.
Yeah, I mean, and then my question, obviously, is tongue-in-cheek, but
Of course.
it is also that spirit of intent, right? That it's vintage. There's a certain